You know the chorus though, and it goes. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever for the union. We're all here for the same cause, actually, which is an attempt to slash our pensions in a way that's really severe. I mean, these aren't tweaks around the edge. These are fundamental changes in the ways that we're compensated.
They are proposing that we move away from a defined benefit scheme where we know what we are going to get in retirement to a defined contribution scheme, which we are calling casino pensions, because that's dependent on the stock market.
It just means I've got peace of mind. I can calculate, I can plan. With the other one, I won't know what it is. The only thing that I will know for sure is that it's going to be less.
I'm really proud to be part of a university, actually, that has had the highest call out for strike rate in this country. So Lancaster's top 10 yet again.
I'm hoping that it shows visibility with the picket line here and that people realise that what a strike is, because a lot of people think it's just people not turning up, and showing that, you know, there is like direct action, and showing that, you know, they're not just having a lazy day off in bed, they're here and they're showing support on a very cold morning.
If we don't win this one, then the teachers' pensions will be next, and the nurses' pensions will be after that, and the council workers after that, and that by the time you're grown up, pensions will be a thing of the past. If they take away my pension, then it just shifts the problem somewhere else.
You know, you can't snatch people's pensions away from them, and you can't sort of pretend that that's not what you're doing.
We're doing this because we have to. We're doing this because it's the right thing to do. I feel quite confident that it's going to be effective, but it's about something else than that. It's about our pensions, it's about the future of the higher education sector, and hell, it's about your pensions too.
This is the most significant strike action that any university has experienced for a period, and as you're aware, it's across more than 60 universities. The university obviously has tried to minimise the impact on students. The students who really shouldn't be caught in the middle of this argument, as it were, are being caught in it, and I think that, as I said previously, is regrettable.
It's always going to be disruptive of someone and something, but in terms of the impact on students and you know, the kind of completion of teaching programs and so on, no, it's not good timing. But as I say, I don't think there ever would be a good time for that.
So I think that the timing of the strikes is quite awkward in that it's going to affect a lot of people's education. But I think the people who are being affected by it are in favour of the strikes.
I mean, I know why they've picked this particular period, because it is going to be extremely disruptive. Obviously, people have got exams coming up, deadlines.
People are having to like work around it and manage it, and they're a bit annoyed and stressed. But I don't think they blame their lecturers, or at least the majority of people I've talked to don't blame their lecturers.
On a personal level, it's a bit of a nightmare because I've got so many deadlines coming up, and it's just stressful in general because I'm going to miss out on so much content.
And the fact that we can't even can't contact the lecturers at all when we've got deadlines in 1 or 2 weeks. And especially in relation to dissertations, this is the period when you really need to be in touch with your lecturer. So the fact that they can't contact us is extremely worrying, and it's probably the worst time out of the entire year that it could happen.
We're here to provide the best education and student experience we can, and anything that's causing uncertainty and disrupting that is undesirable. So there's no doubt that we need to try and bring this to an end at the earliest possible opportunity, and I absolutely deeply regret any effect that it is having on an individual student.
So the interruption to your education is one side of it, and the other side of it is, well, yeah, you've paid fees. I mean, if it goes to the full 14 days, that's half a month.
It kind of feels like a rip-off, and if the strikes continue for a long time, then that's, you know, thousands and thousands of pounds like going down the drain, where you're essentially paying to be at university but not to learn.
In faculty forums, which is like meetings with all the academic reps, it came up about the level of compensation that students would be entitled to, especially since students are often treated as consumers. They're paying a very high price for their education.
The whole point of us coming to university is to learn, and if we're not being taught, then why are we paying this money?
If you go to a store and you buy something, you open the box and it's not there, you'd be like, well, I want my money back. It's kind of like that of education at the minute.
To miss out on such a massive amount of hours, you should get something in return.
Yeah, I'm kind of conflicted about that, but maybe if I find out a bit more information or see how likely it is that we'll actually get money back, then I'll definitely, try and get people on board with it.
So the way that we would facilitate this is emailing the Vice-Chancellor to see where the Student Hardship Fund, which is created during a strike, is going to go.
Bringing up the idea and raising these questions is good in the development of the strike and helping to end this strike.
I hope the students do what we want students to do anyway, which is to get engaged, to get interested, to do some research, to do some reading, to weigh up the evidence, to weigh up the different arguments, and to come to their own conclusions. Any kind of involvement and engagement is good, and there are lots of different ways of doing it, kind of on the ground, on campus. If that did happen, if students did engage and discuss and debate, I think that might help things move on to that next stage and might encourage the circumstances to arise whereby negotiations could start again.
Try and start an open dialogue with your lecturers. This isn't a them and us situation.
I don't think I'll be joining the picket lines. I feel quite on the fence with the whole issue. Like, I'm not actively opposing it and I'm not actively supporting it.
I don't think I will majorly participate in any of the actions going on, like picket lines. I think that if it's going to happen, I might as well make the most of this time off and sit down and spend every day of the strikes in the library doing my work, catching up on essays that I've got.
Personally, I'm tempted to go out and join the picket lines because I've been told by staff that students are more than welcome to go and join them. Why not go and support our staff?
We do understand there'll be an impact on students, and we are asking students to support us because good teaching and learning can only be underpinned by good quality staff and staff who are happy and motivated. So we would ask students to support us and write to the Vice-Chancellor to ask them to come out in support of staff.
What I'm not so proud of is our Vice-Chancellor, who's been consistently limp, apolitical, and I think has failed us as staff and as students and the university in his responsibility to making sure that we're fairly compensated, that we're treated with dignity, that we negotiate in good faith. I think that's pretty limp.
Students and workers, unite and fight! Students and workers, unite and fight!
On Wednesday, a group of students presented a letter to me via the Deputy Vice-Chancellor. I wasn't on campus on Wednesday morning. We've looked at it very carefully. We're considering very carefully about how we respond to that.
1, 2, 3, 4. We want pensions when we're old. 5, 6, 7, 8. Come on, Mike, negotiate.
I visited the picket line yesterday. I spent about 15 minutes with them, so I answered about 6, 7, 8 questions. It became very. I am clear about what they feel, in a sense of, the pension's a very important thing to them.
Losing 14 days of salary in a month is a huge commitment, but it also shows the strength of feeling of staff, that they're willing to take this action, this prolonged, extensive action, willing to give up their salaries, people who are single parents, people who have got mortgages.
This isn't fair to our staff. We value what our staff do. Can you value what your staff do?
But one of the things they also asked me to think about was, because obviously we'll be deducting pay, is there any way we could spread that over a slightly longer period so they don't take as big a hit? We've considered that and come out today with a statement that says that we're prepared to spread it over a longer period.
It'd be great if we could just do a few days and then people would go back to the table and they'd rethink this silly decision and we could just all go back to work.
And I think hopefully it should show the Vice-Chancellor that he needs to come to the negotiating table, and because the strike's happening across the country, hopefully something will change across nationally.
I know they're going to be powerful enough to make a change because this is the largest industrial action in the higher education sector in the history of this country.
Workers have a right to pensions. It's part of being paid. We're not going away until we get a decent offer.